Hello, everybody. This is Damon Pistolka with Andrew Cross. We've got a great guest for you today on the Business Roundtable, Kelly Robinson from Panna Knows. How you doing today, Kelly?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Awesome.
Two of my favorite people.
What's that?
Two of my favorite people.
Wow, that's cool.
You know that.
I don't even know how to go from there, but we will. But we will. It's good to talk to you today, Kelly, because the people that don't know, Panna Knows. Now, am I saying it right? Yeah, because I know people say Panna, and yeah. I've heard you say Panna, so I was going to ask. Yeah, wanted to make sure. And so recruiting, you do recruiting. You work for companies to find people and fill positions, and you do it a variety of ways, and we'll talk about that. But I've got to believe that this has changed an awful lot in the last 6 months.
Yeah, the landscape is very different, and how companies are working with me right now are different, and then will change again, right, after we kind of figure out if we can actually get to the next normal. I don't know. We keep being brought back to, right?
Yeah.
One step forward and two back is what seems to be like Pennsylvania just took another step back. So, but when we get there, I think things will be very, very different.
Yeah, I think so. So what are the changes that you've seen? I mean, like, obviously the remote stuff, but what are the other things that you're seeing that businesses are considering that they may not have been before?
So I actually have two clients that are focused on trying to acquire other, maybe acquire is the wrong word, trying to partner with other companies that are small companies or like consulting, where they can work directly with the founder or CEO to actually perform a role that was cut out for an employee before. So that way they don't have as much risk, and the other person that they bring in has skin in the game.
Yeah.
And they can also work with them on more of a fractional type of role. So it's much easier, I think, for them, as just giving autonomy to the experts here, and then they don't have to hire a full-time employee, which comes with a lot of things when you have to lay off and keep them engaged and keep them trained and going. And I think people are a little nervous to do that right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's it could be a way for people, the gig economy or whatever the heck you want to, contractors and using contractors. It could be an interesting way for people to scale for a while until they feel comfortable that the economy and businesses are returning more to normal.
Yeah, like so there's one client that has 10 positions that he was going to bring in like full time, and he's totally changed it. Now he wants almost basically 10 partners. I'll say vendors because that's what it is, but it's, we all hate that word. It's got to be a partner. And so we're going out to find those people. So isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. So you're going to help find, people that actually have consulting companies to fill the roles rather than W-2 employees.
That's right. So that's a different way for me to recruit, because usually we're going and hiring employees, not looking for companies, but now we're vetting companies to do these roles, which is actually really cool for us to do.
That is. It gives you some flexibility.
Yeah, it's smart. And so it sounds like, oh yeah, well, of course that sounds like something that the company might do. But that's a lot of different partnerships that they're creating. It's not one or two that they're outsourcing. Like it's.
Oh yeah, 10 is a lot.
So you think that's a trend now, going in that direction, Kelly?
I don't know, but now I've seen it a couple times, and I think it's great. I think it makes sense. So for the job seeker, they have to really rebrand, right, or reinvent.
Yeah.
Not everyone is a business owner, but maybe they can figure out how to do consulting for someone else. That's got to be really difficult for them. But I see for companies that are really kind of on the forefront of this, they're already thinking that way. Some are not, and some can't. some need to scale up with a lot of employees, and they will do that. So it's not everyone's not going to be valuable in the workplace, but people need to rebrand and kind of reinvent, and they need to be flexible.
Yeah, I was thinking, you got to. I think I talked to individual consultants or people that have businesses themselves and are out there as an employee. They have to treat themselves like a business, and market themselves that way and protect their brand. And it is just kind of and I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's a bad thing in the long run. I think it makes them more effective. They're learning more. They're investing in equity, just like a business would.
In themselves. Yeah.
So I spoke to someone actually this morning, and she said, someone called me a couple weeks ago, and they had an opportunity for me to start on a project, and she's a recruiter, and she said, I was going on vacation, so I said I can't take the project, and she said, I should have taken that project and I should have worked on vacation, because I have to rethink now that the market is really hard, and it's a different market, and no one's hiring recruiters. So they're going to be used. They're not going to be hiring full-time recruiters. That's for sure. They're going to be using companies like mine now. That's like an extra head they really don't need. Right. Yeah. So like, I am the partnerships that they'll need, but she was kicking herself because she thought, I don't know when this is going to come back around for me now. And I just lost that. And now I hope they're going to call me back and ask me again. People need to be open. They need to be thinking like, maybe I need to take this contract. Maybe it's not going to be full-time. Maybe I need to take this, part-time. Maybe I need to look at a different type of position or different type of, career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and treat your gigs, your employers as like if it's your business too. Understand your avatar and and know what you can do for them. Then again, you'll be better off.
Yeah.
Because you will get into a position, and if you're there and you're expendable, it just happens. And if you're treating it like a business, then you don't want to rely on just one customer.
Right.
The value of the business goes down.
Right.
You need a diverse customer base. Yeah, so,
you're right.
That's pluses and minuses. Yeah.
I think employers are seeing that, right? So now they're like, well, there's lots of options.
Yeah.
Right. So they're watching, right? They're taking a look at who's out there, and they're looking at their team. And a lot of them, we've talked about this before in the other roundtable, is that a lot of companies have taken this whole opportunity under the guise of COVID to let people go. So people are really under the microscope, and so they really need to do what they can do, right? They need to this is the time to shine. This is not the time to think, oh, thank goodness I have my job.
Yeah.
They like you said, Andrew, like make it like it's their own, right?
Yeah.
Networking is really important for job seekers. You've got to build your brand and your connections and be out there. And you've got to know who to talk to. It's just a different world. And so I hope I don't make it sound like I think it's dismal and completely different.
No, that's it. It's not dismal. It's you said one thing that people need flexibility in it. I mean, there's let's look at Ira. I mean, Ira Bowman. He was very established salesperson. Their company went through some changes. He's not anymore. He was flexible, decided he was going to do something different, but he had prepared for that by the networking that he had done and the other relationships that he had built to be able to move on to something differently when the opportunity was presented. And it's the W-2 is not a license to slack off by any means anymore. It's just you're no more. That's no more permanent than I don't know what, the wind really. It's just you can't rely on that for very much.
Yeah. Well, even under good intentions, companies, the whole market is evolving so fast. And when you started the job, and if you do it, you can even do it very well, but things get automated, things get redundant. and if that's your one employer, you're in a bad spot, and I feel for those people. But, diversify, evolve, diversify your skill sets, diversify your customer base, treat it like a business, protect your brand, all those, basic principles that we're working with. You're putting out your sign and saying for hire, so that's the one thing I think you forget too is even if you are working with one client, which is a job, a person who's going to stay in business for a long time has to dedicate at least 20% of their effort and resources to sales and marketing, which is in this case finding the next gig. I think that's a big trip up for folks that they just are giving 100% of their time to the jobs, but you just can't do that anymore.
No. It's all about. So I think something that's really important that actually came from just a thought that came from Ira's show the other night that I did. Someone messaged me and said, I really could use some coaching, some career coaching. And I introduced her to Curtis, right? Our friend Curtis. So it's not what I'm happy to help her, but I've got someone that's an expert. So, and she said, I'm really intimidated because I don't have a college degree. And I was like, oh, she didn't know who she was talking to because I don't either. But I was like, okay. So I said, listen, you can't be intimidated. It's this, whatever the story is in your head. And this is true this is like a pep talk, a motivation thing, but it's really true. Whatever the story is that you've been telling yourself is what's going to happen, right? Yeah. Or whatever you let other people tell you. So if you think I can't do this, you can't, right? If you think I can, I'm going to make it work, like Ira. Right? Like us, we all started our own businesses. Like we figure it out. It's like, you've got to have this, you have to have the confidence, take some time and think about it and rebrand yourself because you can do it. Yeah. Whatever story you're telling yourself, that's it. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and also, they may have even convinced themselves that they've been doing it. And now they're convinced themselves that not because they didn't have a degree or something like that. But what have you've been doing this? You have a degree in that experience, that trial and error, that, all the things that you bring to the table. So, and business owners, I mean, big companies care, but business owners care about people who do. Yeah, that's all they really care about at the end of the day. Yeah, if you can convey that. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, there is I don't know, it's probably close to the majority of the business owners we work with do not have degrees. They don't have degrees.
We're the rough and tough and gruff.
Yeah.
No, they're not book people. They're people who went to work and built a business and learned. A lot of what they learned is trial and error and is here.
Yeah.
So for us, it's very difficult to get that to transfer. It's difficult to transition that, but it is majority, almost 60-70% of the businesses we deal with are in that situation. And well, I mean, a lot of business owners, I've had this several times, will say, well, I started this business because no one would hire me.
Yeah.
And I needed a job. I was the only one who would hire me.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said entrepreneurs are interesting. It's got to be a mix of like someone who's like, I hate to say this, but like dumb enough to think that they can just rule. Yeah. They can make it happen, right? Because there's the risk that they're like, whatever. But like street smart, right? They understand how to navigate. They have to be constantly teaching themselves. Like, so they have to be reading, engaging. I mean, it's a really neat person that makes it work, right? It's unique. It's unique. It's not for everyone.
Oh no,
totally.
Not at all. Not at all. There definitely are those that are able to do it, and others that could, but can't get their mind past it. That's a lot of people. They can't get their mind past it. And the biggest thing that I always hear that when people talk about being an entrepreneur, going into business for themselves, is they I want to make up my own schedule. Well, your schedule is done. It's made up. You're working. If you're awake, you're working. If you're sleeping, you're thinking about, dreaming about it. If you wake up, you're working.
If that's why you're thinking about starting a business, don't.
Yeah.
Keep your job.
Yeah. And if you're sleeping, you're not working. No, you're not an entrepreneur. So, right.
Yeah. So,
well, the real difference is, if you're working for, you're taking a check, you go home and you don't think about work.
Yeah.
But when you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner, it's 24. You may be relaxing, but you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
It never shuts off.
I have to say, and I'm sure you both, because it's kind of in our blood to work like we do. When I was working for someone for a very long time, I gave my heart and soul, and I thought I gave everything I had. Like, I felt like at the end of the day, I left everything in that laptop and on that phone. Like, I gave it all. I gave it my all. Now starting my own company, I'm like, how do I have more? I didn't know I had more.
Yeah.
So it's true. Like, you do work harder for yourself.
Yeah.
But you can work really, really hard for someone else too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different kind of work.
That's you don't know what you've got until you have to do it, because I think there's more in us as we go as part of that. The other thing, though, that I see a lot of business owners now, and it's funny because I've just run into a few of our clients that have this challenge, is that because we work the way we do in business, we assume that our team and the people around us will do, at least the executive teams in these companies will do that. And that's not the case. It's not the case at all. And when we talk about things like that, and about specifically in recruiting, they really need to be able to communicate to someone like yourself when you're recruiting especially in an executive position, that we need someone that's going to act like they own this.
Yeah.
Because there's much difference. There's a drastic world difference between an employee and someone owns it. And I can't tell you, I think we've got, over the years, we've had many clients that have that frustration because I pay somebody a lot of money, they should act like they own it. And that correlation is not there because it's not innate to those people. It's not going to happen. And I have, it's the clients that want everyone to be drinking the Kool-Aid. And that doesn't, I just had to fire a client like that. Yeah. People aren't going to drink your Kool-Aid. Just want, they're, long story. We'll talk offline, but it's not going to work always. Right. And so you can get people that will work hard and have good intention, but they're never going to work like it's their own company until it's their own. Yeah. 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 That's for sure. That's why you have to figure out how people how they feel rewarded. So, and then work with them. It's the same way I work with my clients. It's like, well, what are you looking for from me? What kind of payment? What do you want? How do you want to work the payment solution? Great. That works for you. So that will incent you to work with me. Yeah. That's what we'll do. I do the same thing for my team. How do you want to work? What do you want to get paid? Great. Is that going to make you work hard? Awesome. I'm never going to nickel and dime, because if you want people to work hard, you give them what they want, they're going to do, hopefully. Yeah. I mean, at least you set the expectation. Listen, I've met your expectations. Now meet mine. I was clear with you where you're at. It's a much easier way to go in, and you see this. And there's the people that try to nickel and dime and lowball employees. I mean, there's all the myriad of problems you run into with that are not worth it. You get what you pay for. Yeah.
Well, yeah, too. And it's not even about just what you're paying them. It's, do they have the right tools they need to do their job? I mean, they care a lot about just that.
Yeah.
This stupid thing doesn't work. This computer, you can't expect them to care about it if you can't even, give them the stuff so that they can be successful, and then identifying what the success is, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. The business I've gone into, the best managers, really just check in, because their leaders and their leadership teams are running they're running it. They do things and make decisions. That they don't have to go up to the owner every single time to do that. It's made, and the owner checks in, and they have their own feedback loop, for success. those are great. It's really great to see that, but it's rare.
Yeah. I've always said I don't want to, all through hiring, when I started to really learn what kind of leader I was in the last 10 years, I would hire people and I would say, listen, I'm available to you 24/7 because I work all the time. But do I want to follow up with you? No. Do I want to send an email and have to come after you? No. Do I want to ask you if you did your job today? No. All I want to do is support. I want to give you autonomy and support you. How can I support you? And I want you to know when you need to ask for help, come and ask, and I will be there. Don't just try to do something, let me support you. But I'm the same. I let my team work autonomously. I really don't. I don't want to have to hold their hand or micromanage. Like it's, I hire adults, I always say.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You hire the right people, you're golden.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the key. And then that's the other thing that I think now, though, it really allows, the fact that there's so many people unemployed, it allows you to be a little more selective. Last year going into the fall, hiring was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in the companies that we were associated with, it's got to be, you've got to have a selection of more talent now, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But there's more work with that, right? So there's more, and I'm not a big my company, and I just personally don't believe in you post a job and you sit around and you wait, right? We go out and hunt, like we're hunters. But you do always post a job because you never know who's going to apply. But if you post a job now, you better get ready. So one of my biggest fears is that companies are going to start thinking, we'll just do this ourselves. And then guess what? It becomes a full-time job.
Yeah.
And they're not actually doing their jobs. All they're doing is hiring, which that's why companies that's why I'm in business.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just give for an example. If you posted a post last fall, you would have got X amount of resumes probably. And then now you do it. What are you guessing?
I mean, I get applicants every day on the things that I have posted on my website. And I don't have everything out there because I'm afraid to get too much, but I probably get right now, and I'm a teeny little company, probably 5 times more than I used to get. And I think it's just going to get, as people start rolling off unemployment, I think it's going to get exponentially. So I know some of the big companies, like there's a big health system around here. And when we went through 2008, they were getting like 15,000 applications a month or something like that. I mean, it was insane. So I'm sure they're skyrocketing right now too. But I also think with the unemployment and all the benefits that people are offered, we're probably not seeing yet what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah. That's interesting because you're right. I mean, that runs out the end, later this month, and I'm sure there's people that are going to be, frantically searching.
Yep.
So, interesting. So if you were in the job market today, what the heck would you do?
Oh my gosh. I would figure out whatever my target was.
The target employer? Yeah.
Yeah. Like the job, I need to figure out what, the target job for me and then the target employer as far as who has those jobs.
Okay. Start with the job, then the people.
And I've got to network. Yeah. I've got to network. So I've got to get to those companies and I have to start interacting.
Yeah.
One of my friends is a corporate recruiter at a big company. I won't say which one, but she said, I got this. She came in to visit me here at the beach a couple days ago, and she said, got this this applicant that's asking me to connect to another recruiter. And I said, oh no, because she's like, what do I do with this person? Like, I don't want to put the other recruiter in a bad position to say you have to call this person. And I said, I know, but how great is it that they're reaching out? You have to give them the opportunity. Because that's like, the old school is like, oh my gosh, recruiters always think like, oh, that's so much extra work. That's why there's so many bad recruiters out there.
Yeah.
But I said to her, no, introduce the person. You're not standing up for the person. You're just saying, let me introduce you. Like that. People should be doing that all the time. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And sometimes you find, I've hired people that way. Like you just, because, you know, everyone says you have to apply for the job. Like you have to apply for the job, but really try to get to someone else first.
Yeah.
You can find diamonds in the rough that you wouldn't have found through an applicant, maybe if someone hadn't highlighted them or brought them to your attention.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys see what Airbnb did?
No. Oh yeah, the web page that they put together for their people, highlighting them, was that
phenomenal?
Yeah, I did see that. Now you said that. I think you posted something about that, didn't you?
I did, because I get this recruiting newsletter that I like to read, and I got the article that they put everyone that they had to lay off on a website with their skill sets connected to their LinkedIn profile, and said, you know, these guys are great because, and here's what they do, and hire them. I mean, that's phenomenal.
That's freaking awesome. I'm telling you, it's just freaking awesome. You know what? Nobody feels good about laying people off, and Lord knows I've had to do enough of that in my life. And you know, but to come full circle like that and help them find something else, that's the way to do it right.
Yeah. I saw probably about 6 months ago, Wayfair had a huge layoff.
Yep.
And someone emailed me an Excel spreadsheet. It was like Google Doc or whatever. And they said, here's all the Wayfair, the Wayfarians, they call them, or something.
Nice.
They put together a list and circulated it to say, here, call these people.
That's cool.
Yeah. It doesn't fix everything, but it's a really great thing to do. I mean,
yeah, it's a very little bit of work on the employer's end. You know, they're simply posting some stuff, putting a few things together. Somebody puts a few hours in it. Who cares? I mean, these are people's lives. These are people's lives. And you think of the difference in their opinion towards that company when this is done.
Yep.
You know, at least they tried to help. At least they put my name out there. That HR person, whatever, they did talk to somebody for me, whatever it is. That's a huge thing when you talk about now the era of social media and the brands we're trying to build and what we're trying to do. And you know, 10 employees on Glassdoor can bitch about your company all day, or you can get one employee that was really happy that even though they got laid off, they found another great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Small things make a big difference.
Yeah. That's cool. You know, I think you're right though on the networking, and the other thing is someone, I don't even know who the heck was talking about the other day. You know, Ira's amazingly with this project Help You Grow. Man, he knows that inside and out. We were talking with him this morning about something else, and he was mentioning it. He just knows that. But you know, him and the networking and how you do that is really interesting in that it's really important as a job seeker, I would think, to be able to go, who do I know in that company or in that industry, so I can get more familiar with it, so that if I get in front of the right person, they can see that I actually care enough to know about the company or the industry to talk more intelligently about it too.
Yeah, but you have to differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and understanding that when you do that much work and understand the client, or understand, you know, the position and what they need, it's because it is. I mean, differentiating is, it's not about you, it's about them. They can.
Yeah.
Ira does very well. Get in there.
And, and this is what we were talking about the other day in the roundtable, though, when you were on there, Kelly. Now that I think of it, we were talking about how the best candidates differentiate themselves, and it's because they know your company, they know your challenges, they know, and they show you that they know them and how they relate to them and how they solve those problems.
Yeah, I mean, I've sat in front of, I've had interviews to hire for my company, and you know, I'll say, do you have any questions? And their questions like, well, how long have you been here? Like, these are simple, these are easy things. It's like the note in the direct message on LinkedIn that says, where do you live? It's like,
yeah. Oh my God.
Right. So these are bad questions, people. They're bad questions.
Yeah.
Where I get in front of people and they say, I love your background. You went from here to here. And they're just, they're smart, you know, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, it certainly does. It certainly does. Well, Kelly, if there's one piece of advice you want to leave everyone with before we conclude here, what would that be?
Start telling yourself the story of whatever it is that you want to do, and just keep telling yourself that, and it'll come together.
Yeah.
Visualization, focus, gratitude, all these things, they come together and they work. But I'm telling you, whatever story's in your head, that's what's going to happen in your life.
Oh man, that's so true. And that could be another 10 hours of topics. It just gets my mind running, because I was talking to somebody about that. I won't even go there, because it is so important to do that. And like you said earlier in the conversation, if you think you can't, you can't. If you think you can, you will. Yeah. And that's real important. But thanks a lot for stopping by today, Kelly. It's a pleasure to get to talk to you. Talk a little bit on Kelly's
website. We want to,
yeah.
If you guys want to catch up with Kelly, go ahead, give your website and your.
Yeah. So it's www.Panna Knows, PANNA, KNOW, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn too.
Yep. And I will have Kelly's information in the video comments on YouTube and Facebook. Eventually, it might take me a couple days, so if it's not there right away, reach out to me. But you can connect with her on LinkedIn and those other ways as well. But thanks a lot for being with us here today, Andrew. Any final thoughts?
No, thanks, Kelly. Be safe. Have a great 4th.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye for now.
Bye.